Kelowna RCMP not saying much, but witnesses and victims to Tuesday's armed robbery of this jewelry store are talking plenty. Martin Strasser owns the shop that was robbed.
Probably the most stressful, 4 minutes of my life, right? There he is right there.
4 minutes that must have seemed like an eternity for Strasser and his staff when this man walked in pointing a gun at one of his employees. Strasser is then told to get on the floor while his employee with the gun pointed at her follows the robber's orders. All of it caught on camera and eyewitnesses, including this man who we will call Peter. He saw the suspect walk toward the store and knew right away that something was up. He says the first thing that looked out of sorts was the man was carrying what appeared to be a purse.
He looked into the purse and he lowered the purse down to his side, and as he was lowering it down, I noticed he had a gun in his hand.
After calling 911, Peter says he watched the whole thing from his work window and couldn't help but notice how calm the female employee was despite the threat of violence. An unsuspecting customer also had a close encounter with the gunman. Peter says a woman came face to face with the suspect.
Stuck out her arm to grab the door, and as she stuck out her arm, he drew the gun and pointed it right at her face. So he was maybe a foot, the barrel of the gun was maybe a foot from her face.
The gunman steps out of frame before returning with what appears to be a white box or garbage can. A camera then catches him walking out of the shop, arms full of jewelry, and that's when the police arrive.
And he came running back, and I could see when he got to the telephone pole, he looked left to come down towards this building, and he looked right, and he also looked inside the jewelry store. So he hooked in towards the jewelry store and then ran down the alley. And as he ran down the alley, the police car came up, went in, and then it was bang, bang! He shot at the police car, and another officer was on foot, and the officer that was on foot was right on the rocks right here when the gunshots happened. And then next thing after that, the whole place was just surrounded with police dogs, the helicopter, everything. It was surreal.
What's also surreal is the fact that the employee who had the gun pointed at her was back at work the next day. The suspect remains at large. Kelly Hayes, Castanet Media.